So this is supposed to be a video where I come in and I talk about the Lions' second preseason game, all the developments that have been happening at training camp and what happened in this game, how different players performed and all of that. And granted, that is still going to be what we talk about here, but first off, we have to talk about something a lot more serious. And that would be the fact that the Lions and Falcons did not finish their preseason game on Friday night due to an injury to Lions defensive back Morice Norris, who during a tackle attempt had his head snapped back, causing a significant injury, which resulted in Norris being taken off via an ambulance. And the game was suspended as a result, both teams just forfeiting the game. I don't know the official word on how that's going to be tracked, but the game was over. Both teams were like, we aren't going to play after this, because it was a very traumatic thing for the players. It was 12 minutes of Norris being tended to on the field before the ambulance took him away, and there's no reason to continue playing after an incident like that in the preseason. It just wouldn't be worth it. So we do have to start off this video by saying prayers up for Morice Norris, wishing him a speedy recovery, hoping that he's okay. And in post, I'll edit in an update when Dan Campbell speaks to the media. But yeah, there's not much to say other than I really hope that this player is okay and that this person is okay. Because at the end of the day, it's about more than the player on the field. It's about the person underneath that jersey. Because at the end of the day, this is bigger than football. There's a real human being that suffered a serious injury on Friday night. So it makes complete sense. And I fully agree with the decision to suspend the rest of the game. And I'm wishing Morice Norris a speedy recovery. Now, on that note, there is not a easy way to transition away from that, but I'm going to have to try for the sake of, talking about what has happened at training camp and in this preseason game. So there is the most important thing taken care of. Now, let's talk about what is going on for the Lions and what happened in this game. So coming into this week's preseason matchup, there were a few things that were on my mind as for what to look for in this game. The main one revolved around Hendon Hooker starting the game with the second string team and seeing if he could have a hopefully much better week after a truly bad Hall of Fame game for everyone. But for Hooker especially, he just did not look good. And unfortunately, it just wasn't there tonight either. Hooker really struggled despite playing with the twos. He did not get to finish out the first half. Kyle Allen came in for him with about 5 minutes left and immediately looked worlds better than what Hooker put on tape tonight. It just was not good. He was indecisive with the ball. He was super jittery in the pocket and quick to scramble. He refuses to slide when he scrambles. And of course, the thing that is the reason he got pulled from this game is he fumbled twice. The first being on a scramble where the ball just flew out of his hands the second a defender hit him, and the second being on a strip sack where Hooker just did not sense the pressure or the immediate danger, didn't cover up the football, and once again put the ball on the ground. And the most frustrating part is that Hooker has the physical tools. We saw, he's a very mobile guy. He was able to get a pretty big gain on a 3rd and 10 to keep a drive going. But again, he refused to slide or step out of bounds, which also would have been a very logical solution. And instead, he just runs into a hit, which is just unnecessary damage that he's taking to his body. But the biggest concern with Hooker so far in his development is he has not shown an ability to anticipate throwing windows. I talked about this after the Hall of Fame game and looking for what I want to see from Hooker going forward. And it was very much just that. I just want to see that he's able to see when a receiver is going to be open, throw him open, anticipate those throws a little bit more. And he just has not shown an ability to do that. If a guy is wide open, he will throw it, and he has the accuracy and the physical tools to make those throws. But at the NFL level, even in preseason against backups, you can't wait for guys to get open. You have to be able to lead throws. You have to be able to anticipate windows. You have to be able to diagnose coverages, know what is going to be open based on a certain look. And I just haven't seen that from Hooker at this point. The only anticipation throw I've seen him make was a 4th and 3 in this game to Isaac Tesla, where, it was a good throw and it kept the drive going, but even then it was hardly the most advanced throw in the world. So safe to say, super disappointed with Hooker's performance tonight, but the good news is we at least got some good quarterback play in this game because Kyle Allen looked magnitudes better than he did in the Hall of Fame game a week ago. I was immediately complaining that Hooker was taken out of this game because we know what Kyle Allen is at this point, and I very much stand by that. We kind of have a good idea of what Kyle Allen is at the NFL level, and I wanted to see more Hendon Hooker, see what he could do with the last 5 minutes of the half. So I was admittedly frustrated, but then Kyle Allen comes in and immediately throws a 68-yard bomb to Jackson Meeks, who makes a great play, a bit of a prayer kind of throw by Allen, but it works out. Meeks gets open. The referee almost made a great defensive play. He was tracking that ball a little too well there. And then a couple of plays later, Allen, he had a nice scramble on that drive as well. And then he hits Tesla on a fade in the back of the end zone. Tesla makes a wonderful catch in the corner of the end zone for his first touchdown. I mean, it's preseason, so it doesn't count, but fantastic play by Tesla. He had a great night. Couple of nice catches, obviously the touchdown. A couple of great blocking highlights. Another good rep at gunner. The Tesla hype is definitely going to hit another level following this game. Kyle Allen also had a pretty good second half as well with the third stringers. He had a touchdown to Meeks later in the game on a designed rollout, which is not a very effective play, but it's the preseason, so I'll allow it. Meeks on just a little speed out, and it worked out, so I'm not going to complain too much. It was a nice throw, good catch, no notes. Another offensive performance I want to shout out is running back Jacob Sailors. He just was running really hard all night. He had a nice fourth down conversion to set up the Meeks touchdown. Couple of nice 10-plus yard runs. The offensive line was giving him some good holes, and he was doing a really good job of just working hard for some extra yards through contact. And then the last offensive note I want to make about this game is rookie guard Tate Ratledge did make an appearance. He did play for about the first quarter or so, and he looked pretty good. There was one rep that you've probably seen on Twitter by now where he threw a defender to the ground, opening up a running lane for running back Craig Reynolds. And in general, he just looked solid, and it's good for these rookies to get their feet under them, get their feet wet in an NFL game. Again, it doesn't mean anything. We know he's going to be a starter anyways, but just for kind of his own mindset, just going through the motions and getting onto the field in an NFL game, it is something noteworthy. And he was not the only one in this game that had that kind of experience, as rookie defensive tackle Tyleik Williams also made his NFL debut, in air quotes, which his preseason debut at least. And he, same as Tate Ratledge, played about a quarter and looked pretty good. Now, granted, Tyleik Williams, he's a very specific kind of player, and you have to set expectations appropriately for him. He was soaking up blocks all night long. I swear the Falcons were double teaming him on almost every single rep, pass rush or run blocking, it didn't matter. And Tyleik was standing his ground very well. There was one play in particular where he soaked up a double team, which freed up linebacker Zach Cunningham to lay a big hit on a 3rd and 4, which ended a drive. And in general, Tyleik was just very stout against the run. The trade-off, though, he did not have much juice as a pass rusher, I'll be honest. Like, he was great against the run, and he soaks up blocks like no tomorrow, but he really looked like another version of DJ Reader out there, where it's like, yeah, great run stuffer. You have to put 2 guys on him just because he's so physically large that if you don't, he'll run over someone. But he also just did not have that much juice as a pass rusher. And that's okay. He's a rookie. He's developing. Even if he never develops that part of his game, he's very solid for what he is. Like, Tyleik is very good for what he is. And what he is a good run-stuffing defensive tackle. He'll play 3 technique. He's going to play a ton early in the season. So yeah, just set your expectations accordingly. I liked what I saw because, like, I don't really expect much as a pass rusher. So if you're expecting that, you might be disappointed, but I thought he looked good. Now, a defender who had a very active night once again is linebacker Grant Stewart. Now, the special teams was a mess once again, as it was last week, but Grant Stewart, he looked pretty good defensively. There was a sequence where he had a big hit that he laid for a tackle for loss, and then the very next play had a PBU. Very good to see us on like a deep wheel route concept too. Like, Grant Stewart, couple of nice plays in this game. Depth linebacker, again, like to see that he's doing well on defense because you expect him to be good on special teams, but if he can provide anything on defense, that's just that much better. Defensive end Nate Lynn had a pretty good night as well. He had a big sack in the later stages of this game on a play where he just beats his guy to the outside, chases down the quarterback. It was a very clean play by Lynn, and he has some legit pass rush juice, and for a team that is kind of lacking in the pass rush department, Lynn might actually just mess around and sneak his way onto this roster. Ahmad Hassanin also, I thought, played pretty well. He had a good bull rush on that Nate Lynn sack that I just mentioned. Hassanin looks he looks pretty steady, I think is the best way to describe him. He's never really out of position. He's never like making a horrible mistake. He's not flashy. He's just kind of your safety blanket option, I guess might be the best way to put it, which is good because he's going to make this team probably, and he'll be, depending on what they do at edge, if they bring in Zadarius Smith or not, Hassanin might be like edge 3 or edge 4 to start the year. So if there's an injury, which Marcus Davenport is known for those, Hassanin might be needed this season, like early in the season, but I think he'll be very solid for what he is, which again, it's kind of like Tyleek, where it's like, if you just set expectations accordingly, you'll probably like what you see, which is going to be nothing flashy, but just a steady run defender who sometimes can have a good, he can help collapse the pocket. He's not necessarily the best pass rusher, but he'll collapse the pocket. And if that's what you're okay with, then you're going to be happy with him. And that's sort of it for this week's recap, because it just wasn't that flashy of a game. There wasn't a ton going on. I'll dig into the All-22 and all that later, but on the surface, it just seemed like a pretty run-of-the-mill preseason game. And again, obviously the game gets cut short, so there's even less to talk about. So yeah, I think we're just going to call it there. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you loved it, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. I'll be back next week with some film breakdown from this week and maybe the Hall of Fame game as well. I might go back and look at that film as well. And then we'll be back next week for the preseason week 2 game next week. There's going to be joint practices next week as well, so that'll be pretty exciting. I mean, hopefully we'll get a different look. Maybe the offense will look a little bit better than they have in practice so far. And yeah, man, again, prayers up for Morice Norris. Hope he's okay. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.